Hello everyone, welcome to iQuanta. Today I am going to discuss the last year's paper of CUET. The NTA has released the paper just yesterday and iQuanta is the first institute which is going to cover the detailed solution in the video format as well as by providing the written answer key of all the questions. So as I have already said that in the last year there were RCs passages and there were 3 to 4 RCs. We will see, I think there were 3 RCs in this passage. In this paper last year, and the other questions were related with the vocabulary, antonym, synonym, misspelled words and one word substitution. So let us cover this entire paper. You can see that this is the item number 1 which refers to question number 1 and the question type is MCQ. That means you are supposed to choose and select the best option that you think is the answer. And here's the passage. You can look at the size of the passage, that the passage is actually not very long. You can call it a short passage. It's a very small passage. And it is very easy in language, it is very easy read, you can read this. And for those of you who are watching it on YouTube or Facebook, so in this video I won't be spending a lot of time on this passage, so you can pause your screen, you can just pause the screen and read the passage once, and once you have read the passage, then you can start attempting the options and the questions that will be following this passage. So let me read it quickly for you once. So there is a lovely story of a tree and a little boy who used to play in its shade. They had become friends. One day the boy sat leaning against the trunk of the tree crying. He was hungry. Eat my fruit, said the kind tree, bending down one of its branches. The boy ate the fruit and was happy. The boy grew up. One day he sat under the tree with an anxious look on his face. What is the matter? Asked the tree. I am going to marry and I want a house to live in, said the young man. Cut down my branches and build your house, said the tree. The young man built a house with the branches of the tree. The young man became a sailor. One day he sat under the tree with a worried look. What is the matter now? Asked the tree. My captain is a cruel fellow. I want a ship of my own, said the sailor. Cut down my trunk and build the ship. The sailor lost his ship and returned home as a helpless old man. On a cold winter's day, he stood where the tree once was, leaning on its stick and trembling with cold. Make a fire of me and warm yourself, said the stump of the tree. The stump of the unselfish tree burned in fire, softly humming a tune. So this is the passage. This is the first passage. And after reading this passage, you are supposed to answer the questions that follow. And you can, sorry for this, I need to remove this first. And if you read this question, this is the first question where there are 2 lists and you are supposed to match the list 1 with the list 2. And list 1 has these many sentences, part of sentences. The boy was crying, the young man was anxious, the sailor was worried, and the stump of the beautiful, kind and selfless tree. So now you are supposed to complete the sentence by matching it with the items mentioned in list 2. And the boy was crying because he was hungry. So if you focus on this, the boy was crying because he was hungry. So it is very obvious. It was also mentioned in the passage. And if you look at the options, so A matches with 3. So A3 is present only in one option, which is this one. So in this option, A is matching with 3. And this makes the question very easy because in no other option, A is matching with 3. And that's why you don't need to check any other sentence. Even by checking only one sentence, you can get to the answer because it is very obvious that A matches with 3. The boy was crying because he was hungry, and this is present in no other option. That means the obvious answer is B. So you can see that actually the questions are very easy. So you read this question and try to answer this, and the answer is B. So if you think that the video should pause for a while, so you can pause it on your screen, because I'll just continue answering all the questions. And let us come to the second question. This is the item number 2. And here again the passage is same. The passage is repeated again before every question. And this is the question that the 2 protagonists of the story are, select the correct options. So what are the 2 protagonists of this story? Protagonist is like lead characters of a story. So both innocent, so the 2 protagonists of this story are, so that means the boy and the tree. They are both innocent and naive. One is intelligent and the other is a fool. Both are cunning and selfish. or one of them is demanding and greedy and the other always generous, sensitive and supportive. So very obvious, it doesn't need any explanation. What is there to explain? There is nothing to explain. The answer is self-explanatory, and you have read the story. Even if you have not read the story, you can guess. But reading the story is a good idea. That is why I said, when I always say that, even in my classes, I always say that you have to read the passage, because the passages are always going to be very easy. So why are you running away from reading it? So you read the passage once and you understand all the story, and then answering the question becomes very easy. And the obvious answer is D, because the boy who became a man and then he became an old man, he was obviously very greedy and demanding, and the other, that means the tree, was very sensitive and supportive. So obviously the answer is D. The boy demanded when he was hungry, he demanded from the tree. When he needed a house, he demanded from the tree. When he wanted to build a boat, he demanded from the tree. And at the end, when he was tired and sitting at the trunk of the tree, he burned down the tree just to warm himself. So he was very demanding and the tree was very supportive. So this is the answer, you can see. And this is the third item, again from a question from the same passage. So this is the same passage. There is a lovely story of tree and little boy. And this is the question that how were the tree and the little boy related to each other? Which of the following defines the relationship between the boy and the tree? So you can read the alternatives. That first says that they were close contenders in their race to survive. No, there was no contender. So they were not contenders, so this is incorrect. And they were very close friends due to their very long association. This is possible. Let's read other options. They were colleagues as they worked together. No, they were not colleagues. They did not work together. And they were competitors in their need to fulfill their own needs. So there was no competition between the boy and the tree. The only demands were made by the boy. The tree never demanded anything, so there was no there was no competition in demands. So you can eliminate this option as well, and now your obvious answer becomes B. So B is the answer. And now let us read the next question. The passage again you can see is the same, and here the story highlights a typical selfish human nature we are all familiar with. Identify it from the options given below. So which selfish human nature the passage is indicating towards? So the passage is actually indicating towards a typical selfish human nature. We have to identify that typical selfish human nature. So is it compassion and benevolence? So benevolence and compassion is actually not selfish, because benevolence is goodness and compassion is like a feeling for others, and it is not bad, it is not selfish. So you can eliminate this. Conservation of forest is again not talking about the selfish nature of human beings. And mindless greed to possess more and more wealth, or heartless and foolish exploitation of nature. Now this is a tricky question, a bit tricky, not a lot, but just a bit tricky. Because is it talking about mindless greed to possess more and more wealth, or is it talking about the heartless and foolish exploitation of nature? Which one will you answer? So you might think that it is, some of you might think that it is actually indicating towards the mindless greed to possess more and more wealth, but actually it is not only about the wealth. So he demanded from the tree food, he demanded from the tree wood for the house, he demanded from the tree wood for the building of ship, and finally he demanded from the tree the wood to burn it and warm himself. So in that case he is not talking about, the passage is not indicating towards possessing any wealth. It is actually exploitation of nature, that we are heartless and we are foolish enough to exploit the nature beyond a limit, and that's how we are hurting ourselves in the end. So it is about the foolish exploitation of the nature. It was not about the greed or possession of wealth. And then this is one more question, that the stump of the unselfish tree burnt in the fire, softly humming a tune. And this means, so this was a sentence in the passage, that the stump of the unselfish tree burnt in the fire, softly humming a tune. So this sentence means which of the following? That every tree sings when it is burnt. And no, it is not the case. You don't have to take it literally. The meaning is not literal, it is only figurative. And the selfless tree felt no pain even in its acute suffering while dying, caring for others. Yes, it is very possible. Let us read other options, only then we will decide. The frail and wonderful tree tried to forget its pain by humming. So again, you don't have to take it literally, because it was not humming literally, it is only figurative. And the tree was a fool and was humming as it did not realize that it was dying. Again, it is not a case, it was not humming anything literally. So the selfless tree felt no pain even in its acute suffering while dying, caring for others. So this is the option that matches with the tone of the passage, and this is the correct answer. The others are irrelevant, plus this humming was not literal, it was figurative in sense. So this answer is option C, option B. Let us look at the next item, which is item number 6, that means question number 6. And this question again belongs to the same passage. The question is like, how would you define the relationship that the story illustrates? So the story has illustrated a relationship between tree and the boy, and you have to select the answer from the following options. So it was a mutual symbiotic relationship, or it was a relationship based on deceit and treachery. So there was no deceit and no treachery. So deceit and treachery would be too harsh, and it was an one-sided. It was a one-sided, and one-sided is actually incorrect. It should have been it was a one-sided, and is incorrect. So even they do not care about the grammar. It should have been it was a one-sided relationship. So it is the actual paper downloaded from the website provided by the NTA, but they have written it and there would not be and, there would be a. So what kind of relationship it was? It was a one-sided relationship where the tree loved, cared for and supported the boy till the end. Yes, obviously, it is the case. It was a one-sided relationship. The boy did not care anything about the tree, but the tree was always supportive and caring about the little boy. So it was a disguised enmity. No, the enmity is like hostility, so there was no hostility between the two. It was one-sided relationship. This option describes the relationship in the best possible way. So C is the answer. And now let us move to the next one. Sorry for this. And now in the 7th item, we have got a different passage. After reading the following passage, answer the question which follow. Again, you can pause the screen and read the passage on your speed, but let me read the passage for now for you. So the passage says that I must say that beyond occasionally exposing me to laughter, my constitutional shyness has been of no great disadvantage to me. In fact, I can see that on the contrary, it's been all to my advantage. My hesitancy in speech, which was once an annoyance, is now a pleasure. Its greatest pleasure has been that it has taught me the economy of words. I have naturally formed the habit of restraining my thoughts, and I can now give myself the certificate that a thoughtless word hardly ever escapes off my tongue or pen. I do not recollect ever having had to regret anything in my speech or writing. I have thus been spared many a mishap and waste of time. Experience has taught me that silence is part of the spiritual discipline of a votary of truth. Proneness to exaggerate, to suppress, or to modify the truth, wittingly or unwittingly, is a mutual weakness of man, and silence is necessary in order to surmount it. A man of few words will rarely be thoughtless in his speech. He will measure every word. So now that I have read the passage, still I will recommend you to pause the screen and read it at your own speed. Be comfortable with the content of the passage, and once you understand the story, once you understand the content, once you understand what the author is trying to say, then you can start attempting the questions. So let me jump to the questions. And this is the question number 7, and belonging to the which is automatically the first question of the second passage. And it says that the expression my constitutional shyness in the given passage. So this expression, you could have seen this in the first sentence itself. So this was present in the first sentence of the passage. And here my constitutional shyness means what? So shyness mentioned in Article 1 of the Indian Constitution, or it represents the shyness prescribed as a mark of our democracy in the preamble of our Constitution, or it indicates towards the innate and natural shyness in the author, or it indicates towards a shyness that the author pretends to derive some evil advantages in life. So if those of you who think that the answer is A or B will be misguided, because you think that it is just because the word constitution has been used, so you think that it is about the Constitution of India, but no, this is not the case. Here the constituents refers to the constituting elements of the author, of his inner self. So his innate and natural shyness has been indicated by writing that constitution. So C is the answer. And a shyness that the author pretends to derive some evil advantages in life. So this evil advantages goes against the tone of the passage, and plus the author is not pretending anything here. So this is very negative, and this should be eliminated. The obvious answer is this, that actually my constitutional shyness refers to the innate and natural shyness in the author, and that is the answer. Now let's move to the next question, same passage, and it says that the author as a mature individual believes that his shy nature brought him. So which of these things his shy nature has brought him? So did his shy nature brought him great advantage in life, or did it bring him disadvantage while performing rituals, or did it bring him unmatched joy and enchantment in life, or did it bring him media coverage? So saying that it brought him, so his shy nature brought him media coverage. This was not even mentioned in the passage, plus it is something which is negative, so we do not pick the negative options, they are always eliminated, plus it was not mentioned in the passage. Plus it brought him, his shy nature ultimately actually brought him joy. So it did not bring him any kind of disadvantage while performing rituals. Now it could be tricky between choosing the options between A and B, because A talks about great advantages in life and B talks about unmatched joy and enchantment in life. Actually both are true. Both the things have been brought to the author's life, and this was mentioned in the passage itself, you can read it here. So my constitutional shyness has been of no great disadvantage. So it's been of no disadvantage. It was not disadvantageous for the author. In fact, I can see that on the contrary, it's been all to my advantage. So this term advantage, in fact, it's been all to my advantage. Plus after this, in the next sentence he says that my hesitancy in speech, which was once an annoyance, is now pleasure. So yes, it brought him pleasure, it brought him advantage. But if you have to pick between pleasure and advantage, which one will you pick? So you see that my hesitancy in speech, which was once an annoyance, is now a pleasure. So hesitancy is pleasure, but this I can see that on the contrary it has, that means his shy nature has been all to my advantage. So this could be a bit confusing, but you have to be able to pick the correct answer, and you see that the shy nature brought him advantage and hesitancy brought him the pleasure. So if you have to pick the answer, I will suggest that you go with the option A, because it was of a great advantage. It is talking about his shy nature, and his shy nature brought him great advantage in his life. So you should go with this answer, which is A and not B. So both are correct, but this one is partially correct, this one is actually correct because it is mentioned in the passage. So this is mentioned in the passage explicitly, and that is why this should be the answer. Sorry for this. This is the third question. So from the options given below, select the one which will appropriately answer the following question, and the following question is, the author due to his shy nature, and then you are supposed to complete this sentence. So the author due to his shy nature would aggressively attack any and every crowd around him. So this is just the opposite of his shyness. So this cannot be the case. And the author due to his shy nature worked hard to hide his stammer. Nothing about the stammer has been mentioned in the passage. So this is something which is not present in the passage. And naturally formed the habit of restraining his thoughts. So yes, it is something that was also mentioned in the passage. And because of his shy nature, the author was able to form naturally the habit of restraining his thoughts. So because he was shy, so he did not want to speak a lot. So he just learned to control his thoughts, just learned to restrain his thoughts. He did not utter everything that just came to his mind. Even he controlled his thoughts, so he did not even need to utter anything. So the answer is C. And let's move to this one. The author claims that he has rarely even spoken a thoughtless word due to his shy nature. Yes, it is the answer. It was mentioned in the passage. Those of you who have read the passage would understand that yes, actually this is the answer. And let's analyze the other options. So the author claims that he always speaks without thinking because he is shy. So this is the contrary to what the author is saying. And the author claims that as a shy individual, he has become prone to nightmares. Nothing about the nightmares have been mentioned in the passage, so it cannot be the answer. And the author claims that his shy nature helped him become a great cricket player. No, it is absurd. Cricket player has got nothing to do with the given passage. So the obvious answer is A, And you can see at the level of the question that the questions are actually so easy that the answer is self-explanatory from the given alternatives. You can very easily eliminate the absurd choices, and the obvious answer is very obvious. So this is the answer. And now let us read this. Now experience has taught the author that, which of the following? So which of the following has the author learned from his experience? So experience has taught the author that silence is better than laughter to stay fit. So it is nothing about the laughter has been mentioned in the passage. So this option is actually comparing silence with the laughter. So it may not be the case, but let's not jump to any conclusion right now. Let's analyze other alternatives first, and then we will understand in a while. So experience has taught the author that silence is part of the spiritual discipline. Yes, it could be the answer. And the silence is to be avoided at all costs. No, the author is obviously in favor of silence. So author is in favor of silence. And the silence can never be attained by a man. It can be attained by a man. The author himself has attained it. So you can eliminate these two absurd choices, and you are left with silence is better than laughter, and the other one is silence is part of spiritual discipline. So as I said that nothing about the laughter has been mentioned in the passage, so you can obviously eliminate this, and you can jump to the conclusion that our answer is B, that is experience has taught the author that silence is a part of the spiritual discipline. Plus it is mentioned in the passage. If you read the passage carefully, you can find this sentence written in the passage. So this is the answer. B is the answer. For the 12th question, let us see what is the 12th question. So here again you have got a list like the previous passage, and where you are supposed to match list 1 with the list 2. List 1 has got these elements, items, and list 2 has got these items. So a man of few words, this is A. So a man of few words will, which of the following? So is not possible with will, so you can eliminate, sorry for this. So you can obviously eliminate this. So you can see that a man of few words will, now you can eliminate this immediately, and you can eliminate this immediately was. So a man of few words will rarely be thoughtless in his speech, or a man of few words will occasionally exposed me to laughter. So this is nothing, I mean. So a man of few words will rarely be thoughtless in his speech. This is the pair. So A matches with 1. And here if you analyze the options, you will see, let me scroll it up a bit so that you can see the 4th alternative. So if you see that A is matching with 1 only in this option D and nowhere else, and that's why option D is the answer. And because A matches with, now you don't need to worry about the other pairs. Now you don't even need to waste any time while reading this part, because you have got your answer from here only, because A1 is present only in this option D, and that's why D is the answer. So you can see at the level how easy they had made these questions by options. If they had put A with 1 in some other alternative, then you would need to worry about the other choices. Otherwise you won't even waste your time. And let us read this 13. Now the passage has changed. So you can see that there were 6 questions in the first passage, and then there were 6 questions in the second passage, and now we have come to the third passage. Item number 13. You can read this item number 13, which means question number 13. So let us read this question. So once again, I will recommend that you pause the screen here and you read the passage at your own speed. And once you are comfortable with the content of the passage, you can start reading the question. Let me read the passage for you once. So unhappiness and discontent spring not only from poverty. Man is a strange creature, fundamentally different from other animals. He has far horizons. And now, it should be comma. He has far horizons, invincible hopes, creative energies, spiritual powers. If they are left underdeveloped and unsatisfied, he may have all the comforts which wealth can give, but will still feel that life is not worthwhile. The great humanist writers like Shaw and Wells, Arnold Burnett and Galsworthy, who are regarded as the prophets of the dawn, expose the foibles, inconsistencies and weaknesses of modern life, but they ignore the deeper currents and sometimes misinterpret them. At any rate, They give nothing in their place. In the void left by the removal of tradition, morality, and religion, others are putting in vague sentiments of race and power. The modern mind is shaped by Rousseau's social contract, Marx's Capital, Darwin's On the Origin of Species, and Sprengel's The Decline of the West. The outward chaos and confusion of our life reflect the confusion of our hearts and minds. Constitutions, says Plato, are but the reflections in the outside world of the values which prevail in men's minds. There must be a change in the ideals which we cherish, in the values we adopt, before we can give social expression to them. We help to secure the future only to the extent to which we ourselves are changed. What is missing in our age is the soul. There is nothing wrong with the body. We suffer from sickness of spirit. We must discover our roots in the eternal and regain faith in the transcendent truth which will order life. Discipline discordant elements and bring unity and purpose into it. If not, when the flood comes and the wind blows and beat upon our houses, it will fall. That means our society and the value will fall. Now this passage, in comparison with the other two passages that we have read earlier, the first passage was very easy, the second passage was also very easy, but this could be a bit tricky in reading. But if you look at the options, you will feel that actually the questions are not that tricky, the questions ultimately are easy. But if you talk reading wise, this could be a bit tricky. Why it could be a bit tricky? Because you might not be familiar with these names, for example Shaw and Wells, or you might not be familiar with Arnold, Burnett and Galsworthy, and the others have also been mentioned. Rousseau has been mentioned here. So they were the philosopher of the Middle Age, and these philosophers have come up with their ideas about the humanity and life and the spirituality. But they focused more on religion, not on the spiritual aspect of human life. And the author seems to be not in the agreement with their views, because they focused on one element but completely missed the other element, which is spirituality. So the author is focusing mainly on spirituality and not on the worldly things and the religious aspects. So let us read the questions and try to understand the correct answers. So the author implies that if the eternal values and ideas are not regained, then that means the author wants that the eternal values and ideas should be regained, and if they are not ideals are not regained, then what will happen? The world will be flooded, the sky will fall, the human civilization and society will be ruined forever, the earth will get sucked into a black hole. So as I said that you don't have to take everything literally. When it says that here you can see, if it is not done, so it implies that if the eternal values and ideas are not regained, so if they are not regained, and then we have comma, when the flood comes and the winds blow and beat upon our houses. So you don't need to take this literally and mark the answer as A. So those of you who are marking A as the answer, they think they are taking this literally. There is no flood is going to come. He only means by saying that, and no sky is going to fall anywhere, and the earth will not get sucked into any kind of black hole. When he says this, he only means that the human civilization and society will be ruined forever, and it will fall. So it will fall when he says that it is society will fall and it will be ruined forever. So the answer is C, because you don't have to take this literally. So some of you might get bored because reading these passages and finding the answers is not an easy thing. I understand this because I have been teaching for quite a while now. I know that students feel bored while dealing with the passages, but if you have to bear with the passages for a while, because after we cover these passages, that means after we cover 18 questions, there will be questions based on vocabulary and other things as well. So we will have a look at those questions as well. So, and this is the next question, that according to the author, the humanist writers have ignored which of the following? So they have ignored the spiritual aspect of the life, or they have ignored the religion and rituals, they have ignored the cultural progress, or they have ignored the material welfare. So as I was explaining the content of the passage, I made it very clear that these middle-age scholars, these middle-age philosophers, they actually focused on the religious and ritualistic values of life. They also focused on cultural progress, and they were materialistic. So these cannot be the answer, because they did not ignore any of these. Actually what they missed was a spiritual aspect of life, and this is the content of the passage. The author is actually saying that all those men who have been mentioned in the passage, all those scholars and philosophers, have actually missed the spiritual aspect of life, and the author wants us to go back to revive those inner being of human aspect. So I am scrolling fast because I think that you have read the passage by pausing the screen. And now this is the next question that we have, that according to the author, how is man different from other animals? Because of his unique power of speech, or in his hopes, creative energies and spiritual powers, or in money and the material achievements of man in physical prowess? So if you don't care about the passage, you can answer any of them and your answer will be correct. But according to the passage, what was mentioned in the passage was this, that man is different from animals because of his hopes, creative energies and spiritual powers. Because of his unique power of speech could have been true in some other passage, but not in this passage, because in this passage it is written very clearly. So the answer is B. And then you have this, according to the author, unhappiness and discontent spring from which of the following? So they spring from poverty alone. No, they do not spring from the poverty alone, because it was very clearly mentioned in the first sentence. You can read it here, that they do not stem only from poverty. They do not spring only from poverty, but also from something else. So what is that? So that thing has been written here, and you will find that in the option. So unhappiness and discontent spring from poverty alone? No. Ignorance alone? No. But poverty along with moral and spiritual degradation of man. So yes, this is the content, this is the point made by the author, that this unhappiness and discontent spring not only from poverty, but also from moral and spiritual degradation of man. And they spring from mental turmoil. It is absurd. So you can eliminate the other choices. The obvious choice is C, and C is the answer. And again, you have got this list 1, and you have to match this list 1 with the list 2. I hope you can read the content on the here on sheet. Yes, now you can read it better. So list 1 says that the strange creature man. Now you have to match this with this second column, and this becomes very obvious that the strange creature man is fundamentally different from other elements. So man is fundamentally different from other animals. Now A matches with 3, and you find this A3 combination only here. In no other options you find this A3 combination. So you don't need to check any further. The obvious answer is A. And this is easy, you can see. So those of you who are worried about the level of the passage, level of the question, now you can see that why 19,000. Let me repeat once again, that actually 19,000 candidates, they scored 100 percentile last year, and you have to be one of them. If you want to get enrolled in best of the universities in India, you have to be one of these 19,000 aspirants, because just like you, the others are going to perform, and you will get 100. Most of the students will get 100 percentile in English language test, because you can see at the level of the question, these are very easy questions. And if you are facing any kind of challenges at this level, then the journey is going to be difficult for you. And this is the next question, that despite enjoying all comforts that wealth can provide, man will still feel incomplete and unhappy if he is prevented from mingling in the society, or if his hopes, creative energies and spiritual powers are unsatisfied, he is deserted by his friends, or if he had failed to enroll in a central university in India. So in which of the cases you will feel incomplete and unhappy? So a man will feel, so look at this incomplete is incomplete, and this unhappy makes us unhappy. So this is like incomplete and unhappy. What is this, man? So this is this. So the obvious answer in this case also is that if he is incomplete and unhappy, if his hopes, creative energies and spiritual powers are unsatisfied. So in case these things are unsatisfied, you will obviously feel unhappy and incomplete. So that is what the author has said in the passage. So we have covered all the questions of the passages so far. So you can see actually the passages are very easy in reading and the questions are even more easier. So I mean the questions are easier than the passage. So I don't have to say anything about these passages and these questions. You just can read these passages on your own and you can analyze the options on your own and you will come to your conclusion on your own. You don't actually need any assistance. But now let us talk about this 19th question, and this is about finding the given relationship between the given pair of words. So the given pair is respect and regard, which is same. The respect and regard are same thing, that is synonymous. And if you have to find a pair which is similar in meaning, so respect and regard is the given pair, and which of these options represent a similar relationship. Now this could be a bit tricky for you, and let me tell you why. Because none of these given options is correct. Stain and spotless, they are opposite. So opposite, and that's why this cannot be the answer. This is synonym. You have to find a pair which represent the same relationship, which comes the same relationship to the given pair of the word. So this is opposite. Ruin and repair. Sorry, this is opposite. This stain is something else, spotless is something else. Ruin, and this is again opposite. Detest and regret and rejoice. So this is also opposite. And this one is opposite. Now what about this? Detest and despite. Actually detest and despite do not have any relationship. They don't share any kind of relationship. I think this should have been not despite but despise. So it could be a misprint in the paper. So it is a misprint in the paper because it should have been despise, and now it is synonymous. So detest means hatred and despise means hatred. So now detest and despise, they both mean the same thing. Respect and regard, they both mean the same thing. So you are supposed to find a pair which represent the same relationship as given in these words. So they share a relationship of synonyms, and detest and despise share a relationship of synonym. Despite must have been a misprint, so don't go with that, and still by chance this is the answer here. And now from the given option select the pair of words which carries the same relationship to the given pair of words. Same question like the previous one. So dull and bright, opposite. So dull is dull, bright is bright. So here these given words share a relation. Dull is dull, bright is bright. So relationship that they share is opposite. And like forsake and discard, lean, slender, fragile, delicate, harmony and discord. So forsake and discard, similar. Lean and slender, similar. Fragile and delicate, similar. Harmony and discard, opposite. So you have to choose the one which is opposite. So this is the opposite, because harmony means accordance, peace, and discord means no harmony, no peace, disagreement. So this is agreement, this is disagreement. So they are opposite in nature, and the given pair is also opposite in nature. So we have to find a pair which carries the same relationship to the given pair. So this carries the same relationship as the given. This is opposite, this is opposite. So this is the answer. Now let us move to the next question. From the given option, select the pair of words which carries the same relationship to the given pair of words. So again, happiness and misery. What kind of relationship do they share? So happiness and misery are opposite. Happiness is happiness and misery is not happiness. It is unhappiness, opposite of happiness. So violent and vile, same. Construct and dismantle, opposite. Deception and fraud, same. Tranquility and quietness, same. Tranquility is nothing but quietness. So this is similar, similar, similar. This is the opposite. So this shares the same relationship as happiness and misery, construct and dismantle. Construct is to construct, dismantle is to damage, is to break it down. So when you damage, when you break it down, you dismantle it. So generally we dismantle a building and something like that. And this is the word that I explained in the class today itself. So we have already started the sessions on vocabulary. So in the vocabulary session, I just covered this word today itself. And now this is this 22nd question. From the given option, select the pair of words which carry the same relationship to the given pair of words, just like the previous questions. So here it is resolute and determined. What kind of relationship do they share? They are similar. If a person is resolute, this person is very determined. So appease and frighten, opposite. Hinder and assist, opposite. So this is opposite. This is opposite. And this is bustle and motionless, opposite. And miniature and small, same. So miniature means small. So miniature means small. So something which is a very small artifact of a bigger, larger picture is called a miniature. So these are synonyms, and the given pair is again synonym. So same to same, the relationship is being shared by this option D. So D is the answer in this case. And now you have to rearrange the given group of words to make a meaningful sentence. Now what could be the possible order of these sentences? So a consumer protection derived to, so obviously D is the opener. The administration will soon launch what? A consumer protection device to educate the people about their rights and to warn traders against using fraudulent means. So D is the obvious openers here. You can start this. You have to rearrange these parts of sentences in such a way that this becomes a meaningful sentence, complete sentence. So obviously D comes first, that the administration will soon launch what? It will launch A. It will launch a consumer protection device to educate whom? To educate the people. To educate the people about their rights and to warn traders against what? So against using fraudulent means. So DACB is the answer. You can find this in the first option, DACB. Now you have to rearrange these sentences in such a way that they become meaningful, and I think you can read this. So no part of this publication may be in any form without the written permission of the publisher of the book reproduced, stored or transmitted. I don't think you need to. So no part of this publication may be reproduced. So no part of this publication may be reproduced, stored or transmitted in any form without the written permission of the publisher of the book. So it is again very easy. A will take D and B and C. So A, D, B, C. Where can you find this? You can find this in option C. So C is the answer. You can read it. It is very obvious, self-explanatory. There is nothing to explain. So what can I explain in these questions? It is very obvious and self-explanatory. There is no other possibility. So that's the answer. And now you have to rearrange the group of words to make a meaningful sentence. Then the word will avert all future wars and agree to obey all the laws if all the nations work together for the common good of mankind. So obviously you have to start the sentence with C. So if all the nations work together for the common good of mankind, then the word will avert all the future wars and agree to obey all the laws. Oh sorry, you have to put this as first. So if C first, if all the nations work together for the common good of mankind and agree to obey all the laws, then the word will avert all the future wars. So CDBA is the answer. Where can you find this? You can find this here in option C. So CDBA is the answer. This is the level of question. You can feel about it. You can form your opinion about it. Yes, in the last year, one more thing I would like to highlight, that last year there were no questions on grammar, but that doesn't mean that this year again there won't be any questions on grammar, because they have clearly mentioned in their syllabus that grammar is certainly a part of their syllabus, So if grammar was not there in last year, that does not mean that it won't be there this year too. So you have to be prepared. You can see you don't need to worry about the vocabulary part, the finding the relationship, because these are very easy questions. Then you don't need to be worried about these rearrangement questions, sentence rearrangement, because again they are very easy. Their level is actually very easy, you can see. And the passages again are very easy, you can see they are level 2. So the only thing that was not covered last year was grammar. So if this year they give questions from grammar, it could be a bit tricky for you, for those of you who are not really trained. So why I am saying that, because this came in the paper, but you can see the level actually, even if it is repeated this year, you can take care of it very easily. But you need to train yourself in the grammar section, because if there are questions from grammar, you might struggle a bit if you are not prepared. And now you have to rearrange the given group of words to make a meaningful sentence again. And the sentences are, the group of words are: for the vehicles carrying food items, the center has made it mandatory to display all the details on the windshield and the rear screen. You don't need to do anything at all. It is already in the perfect order, A, B, C and D. And where can you find this? Oh, it's nowhere present. So okay, it is not present anywhere. Oh, sorry, it is like, sorry, my mistake, my bad. So I just could not read it very clearly. The center has made it mandatory for all the vehicles. So it will be B, A. So B for all the two displays, C and D. So B, A, C, D. Can we find this? Yes, we can find this. So B, see, the thing that I did was that sometimes you can, when the paper is easy, you tend to make this kind of mistake that I made. So if this option were present in the given, if this choice was present in the given options, I would have marked it immediately, and then my question would have been incorrect. So sometimes when the paper is actually very easy, we are tempted to mark them very quickly, but that is one area where we need to focus. Even if the paper is easy, you don't lose your focus, stay focused and read it carefully and mark your answers very properly. Otherwise you can make a mistake like this. So the correct order is like this. So I formed this order immediately in a second, but then I realized that this is not present in the option, and then I have to reread it. And when I reread the part, I realized that the answer is this. And here from the given option, select the one which is similar in meaning to the given word, and the word is nourish. And which word is similar in the meaning to nourish? So is nourish is negate, nurture, neglect or native. So nourish is nurture. So upbringing. So when you take care of someone or something, you nourish it. So for example, there is a plant in your garden and you just water it every day. You take care of the plant very well. That means you are nourishing the plant. You are nurturing the plant. So you are taking care of the plant. So nourish is nurture. Negate is to say no, and neglect is to ignore, and native is belonging from the particular place. And here the next question is, from the given option select the one which is similar in meaning to the given word. The given word is listless, and yes, this is a good word. Just today we have already started the vocabulary session, and this word was covered recently in one of the sessions. In one of the sessions actually I covered this word. I covered this word here under the synonyms of lazy. So I was covering the synonyms of lazy, and in this list I already covered this listless. So listless is lazy and lethargic is again lazy. So very listless, lazy, indolent, lethargic, lackadaisical, dormant, these are the words that belong to the same category, and listless is lethargic. So those of you who have good vocabulary, for them this question is very easy, but if you don't have a good vocabulary, then you might this to be a bit difficult. But it is easy, but it is about knowing words. So if you know the word, it is easy. If you don't know the word, it could be difficult. So this is the level of vocabulary. So vocabulary is of good level actually in these papers. So vocabulary section is good. And here from the given option select the one which is similar in meaning to the given word, and the given word is sophisticated, and the given options are easy, simple, naive and experienced. So sophisticated is definitely experienced. Because some sophisticated things are refined. Sophisticated, if something is sophisticated, it is actually refined. So it has got many contextual uses, so it is used in many different ways. One of the meaning could be refined and the other meaning could be experienced, but not obviously not easy, no, obviously not simple, and obviously not naive. Naive is like new to something, and inexperienced. So naive is inexperienced, experienced, the opposite of experience is naive. And here in the next set of question you have to, from the given option, select the one which is similar in meaning to the given one. Again, synonym, you have to pick the synonym of lament. The lament is to wail, to moan, it is to wail, it is to moan, it is to, mourn over something, to express sadness. When you are expressing sadness over something, it is grieve, and it is bereft, bereave. And there are many words for this lamentation. And to lament is to wail, to mourn, to express your sadness, and to grieve, to bereave. And out of the given alternatives, this one is the synonym of lament. So when you mourn, you are again expressing your sorrow. To mourn is to express your sorrow, to express your grief. So this is the similar. And complain has got nothing to do with this lamentation. Console is to give solace to someone, right? And celebrate is to be joyous and celebrate something. So mourn is the synonym of lament, obviously. So if you attend these classes, these words are nothing. You can cover these words and a lot more, because we are dealing with the vocabulary in detail. So you will learn a lot of such words. And from the given option, select the correctly spelled word. So what is this? It has to be deteriorate, and deteriorate has got this. This is the correct spelling of deteriorate. Option C is the correct spelling. So deteriorate, it is nothing. So this is the correct spelling of deteriorate. And deteriorate is to get worse. The meaning of this word is to get worse. And from the given option, you have to select the correctly spelled word. What is the correct spelling of pneumonia? So those of you who have focused on your studies just a little would obviously know the answer. So you have done schooling for 12 years and now you don't know the meaning of pneumonia, then your education is certainly questionable. And the correct spelling of pneumonia is this one. So the others are incorrect. And from the given option, select the correctly spelled word, emergency, and obviously the answer is emergency, this one. I don't know what to explain in these questions. This is the level of question, there is nothing to explain. And then you have to pick the correct spelling for bureaucrat. So again, what is the correct? It could be a bit tricky for someone. So the correct spelling of bureaucrat is this one, bureaucracy, D. So there are certain words which are commonly misspelled by people. Bureaucrat could be a bit tricky because people tend to misspell this word, bureaucracy. To smell a rat. So this is idioms and phrases. So you are supposed to guess the correct meaning of this idiom and phrase. So when you smell a rat, what do? Actually you are suspicious. When you smell a rat, you are suspicious, and to suspect a trick or a deceit is to smell a rat. So when you say that I'm smelling a rat, you are not being literal, you are not literally smelling a rat. You are only like, you are saying like, because you are suspicious and you think that something is wrong in this situation. And then you say that I can smell a rat. And from the given option, you have to select the one which correctly explains the given expression. And the given expression is this: to take a leap in the dark. That means andhere mein teer chalana. And to do something without being certain of the outcome and result. So when you take a leap in the dark, that means in the Hindi you call it andhere mein teer chalana. And to do something without being certain of the outcome and result. You just hope that the outcome will be favorable to you, but you do not know. and that's when you take a leap in the dark. And from the given option, you have to select the one which correctly explains the given expression. Again, the same question, to pull one's socks up. That means you have to get prepared for something. So to try something new and to make an effort to improve one's performance. So this should be the answer, because when you pull your socks up, that means you are preparing yourself for a performance or something. So to make an effort to improve one's performance. Here, pair of don't take these idioms literally. You don't need to take these idioms very literally. And here, to lose face. So again, this could be tricky for some of you. Those of you who have not heard it would not guess the answer, may not be able to guess the answer. But to lose face is to get humiliated, to lose respect from others. So when you are humiliated, you lose face. So it is like losing respect from others. And the one who is new and inexperienced in a certain job. So novice is the word that we have already covered. Just a while ago we already covered this word novice. It is inexperienced. So this is the given expression, that one who is new and inexperienced in a certain job is actually novice. Veteran is old in that field. Veteran who has been a part of that field for a while. It is like an old and seasoned person of that field. Versatile is like being good at many things, many forms of art. So a singer can sing many kinds of songs. That means he's a very versatile singer. And namesake is like only for name, only to say, not in reality. So that is, in Hindi we call it कहने के लिए. So that is namesake. And one who hates mankind. So again, we were discussing in classes, in the class we already discussed the roots like phil and mis. So miso is for hatred and phil is for love. So in classrooms we have already covered these roots, and you can see here you have got one who hates mankind, that means misanthrope. So only if you understand this root, prefix and suffix, you can easily guess this word. So sadist is a person who takes pleasure in others' pains. So suppose if I see you in pain and I see you in pain and that gives me a joy, that your pain becomes a source of joy for me, that means I am a sadist. Your pain has become a source of joy for me, that means I am a sadist. And narcissist, a person who is always worried about his appearance and how he looks. So the first question that is always hovering on their mind is like, how do I look like? How do I look like? And they can never leave their home without looking 3-4 times in the mirror. So once they make sure that actually they are looking very handsome, dashing, and like a Bollywood and Hollywood actor, only then they leave the place, only then they leave their house. These kind of people are narcissists. So overly worried about their appearance, these kind of people are defined as narcissists. Misanthropes are the people who hate mankind. They do not like people around them. They just love to live alone. They just don't care about anyone else, and these kind of people just tend to hate the society. They tend to hate people. They are misanthrope. And misologist, so it could be like a misologist. It could be like a person who hates logic. He's I'm not very sure about the meaning of this word. Misologist, I will have to check it. But it sounds like it could be a person who hates logic or words or something like that. And here, recurring every 10 years, so 10 has got a root, and for that root you have this decade. So century is for 100 years, this for 2, and quadra is for 4, deca is for 10. So recurring every 10 years, obviously the answer is C. So those who have attended the root classes will know the answer immediately, otherwise you will wonder what could be the answer. Fear of water, kleptophobia, hydrophobia, podophobia or hedonophobia. So again, hydro is water, so the fear of water, water is hydro, so the answer is B. And again, I'm not sure about the hedonophobia. Again, I would admit. Kleptophobia is like fear of stealing something. So kleptomania is more famous because some people fall into the habit of stealing something. So they become kleptomaniac. And I don't know what is hedonophobia. Matthew met Michael at the mayor's moor. So you have to identify the figure of speech, that is poetic device used in this expression. So Matthew met Michael at the mayor's moor. So repetition of the initial letter is alliteration. So here the initial letter has been repeated a number of times. You can see M, 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 M everywhere, which is called alliteration. So the figure of speech is alliteration in this case. And yes, we are going to have a session on figure of speech especially. So I'll be conducting a session on figure of speech where I'll be explaining all the figures of speech with beautiful examples. So you will never forget these figure of speech questions, and there are 3 to 4 questions from figure of speech. So you will become a master of these questions. And from the given options, you have to select the figure of speech again. Chandu's uniform fits him like a glove. So again, whenever you see the uses of like, that means it is going to be a simile. Yes, simile is present in the option. So it is a simile. When you make a comparison by using words like and as, so that is an example of simile. And next question again, Tom and Jerry share a love-hate relationship, and again you are to guess the poetic device, that means the figure of speech here again. So it is love-hate, and love-hate is like oxymoron. So when you place 2 contradictory words together, one means something else and the other means exactly opposite. So this kind of placement of words is called oxymoron. So love-hate is an example of oxymoron. And here all the word is a stage. Again, in the previous example, when you made the comparison by using the words like and as, that is called a simile. But when you are not using words like and as, and still you are calling it, you are making a comparison, you are calling something else, in that case it is an example of metaphor. So here all the words is a stage, it is a metaphor, it is not a simile. So simile is like when you use words like and as, and then you make the comparison, it is a simile. Without using words like and as you make a comparison, it is called a metaphor. So you are calling the word a stage. Stage is a stage, word is word, but here you are calling word a stage, and this is an example of metaphor. And here from the given option you have to select the opposite in meaning to the given word. So previously we were looking for the synonyms, and now we are looking for the antonyms. So liability, the given word is liability, and obviously the answer is asset. So this is the answer. Liability is something that you owe to someone, and asset is something that you possess. So assets are your possessions, and liability is something that you already owe to someone. And stringent, you have to find the opposite in meaning. Stringent is very strict, and lenient is the answer, because lenient is not so strict, very, what do you call lenient? I mean not so strict, not strict, very loose, it is like lenient. Parents, you can use these words in case of parents. So some people, someone can have a very stringent parents, and someone can have lenient parents. So if the parents are stringent, they will be very strict, and if they are lenient, they will be not so strict. And here conscientious, again you have to find the opposite of the word conscientious, and conscientious is it is actually synonymous with mutual, it is synonymous with scrupulous. The opposite would be irresponsible. So when you take a decision either mutually or scrupulously, so when you are scrupulous is synonymous with conscientious. So when your conscience allows you to do something, and you have taken a consultation with your conscience, and then you commit an action, then that action is scrupulous, that action is conscientious, but irresponsible is the opposite. Meticulous is actually very detailed. This is very detailed, and irresponsible is the opposite of conscientious. You don't take care of minute details and carelessly you perform an action, that is irresponsible. And here the given word is perennial. Perennial is like not never ending. This is like never ending, endless. And you have to find the opposite for the given word. So these two words are used with rivers actually. There are seasonal rivers and there are perennial rivers. So perennial rivers like Ganga and Yamuna, and seasonal rivers, I don't know the example of seasonal river, like Saraswati, that I mean not now. There are many seasonal rivers in local regions. So in your locality you can have a seasonal river. So they are not very famous because they are known only to the local area. Those people know these seasonal rivers. So perennial is like never ending, going forever, and seasonal is seasonal. So common, frequent, and these have got. Incessant is again continuous. So incessant is synonymous with perennial. So if something is incessant, it is again very continuous, happening without any stoppage. So it is not stopping even for a while, it is happening continuously. So that is incessant. So something that happens, keeps happening continuously is incessant. So you can say that this is synonymous with perennial. So yes, the opposite is seasonal. So we have, I think we have covered the 50 questions, and now you can see that you have got questions from antonyms, you have got questions from synonyms, you have got questions from idioms and phrases, you have got questions from sentence rearrangement, you have got questions from passages, and I think that's it. So only grammar is not present in this passage. So if you get questions, so out of these questions you can feel that actually the only thing that you need to practice more and more is vocabulary part, because there are a lot of words out there in this world, and suppose there is a question of vocabulary and you are not familiar with the word, it could be a bit difficult for you to answer these questions. Other than that, in the passages, I don't think you will feel any difficulty, you will face any challenges at all, because answering these level of passages is very easy and it doesn't even need any guidance proper. But still, we have already practiced some of the passages and we'll be practicing more passages in coming classes. And we'll be taking more sessions on vocabulary, and I'll be taking sessions on, yes, the very important is like figure of speech. So I'll be taking 1 or 2 sessions on figure of speech as well. I think 1 session is sufficient, you will understand all the important figures of speeches. So that is all for now. This was the analysis of the paper that came last year in the CUET. And this is the official paper, and this paper has been downloaded from the official website of the NET. And they conducted this test last year, and they are going to conduct the same this test this year again, and that's why they have released this paper of last year, so that students can take a reference from here and they can evaluate their preparation, they can evaluate the quality of questions, and they can take they can assess their preparation, they can understand what they need to prepare and what are the quality and types of question is going to be in the exam. So that is all for now. I hope you enjoyed this, and I know this could have been a bit lengthy because covering 50 question is actually it is, I could not have made it shorter. I tried my best to do it quickly, but I think 50 question will take time. So it depends whether you consider it to be quick or long. That's up to your choice. So that's all for me now from my side, and let's end this video. Thank you.